So before we get started, how many people in here have been doing SEO for at least 2 years? Okay, cool. 3 years? 5 years? Okay, good. So we have a good mix. If I say something you don't understand, feel free to interrupt as we're getting towards the end of the slide, and I can go over that term again for you. And here we go. So we're going to look at some animals that you probably have grown to despise. And the first one is our lovely friend, the panda. And pandas, well, they could be cute and they could be cuddly, but pandas can also kind of attack and kill your content. Penguins might look sweet and friendly, they like to tap dance and sing around, but penguins live in bad neighborhoods and they ruin your site's reputation, the value of your links, and the links into your site from your neighborhood. And then we have hummingbirds, who we all know that the princesses in those animated films love. They have flowers, and they're so cute and friendly, but they spread rumors and they ignore you, and they don't actually say what it's about, and they constantly bounce around so no one actually knows what your site's about anymore. And now we have 3 animals that are all attacking you as an affiliate or as a webmaster or an e-commerce store. But who's the worst one, and how can you fix these issues? That depends on your website. It depends on the content of your website. It depends on the links going into your website, the links going out of your website, and then it depends on your content again. So this slide, lots of stuff, so I'll go through it. Again, please feel free to stop me if you have any questions or need anything. The first thing on the website to look at, we're just going to go straight down your site basically, is your title tag. I have 70 characters here. That's slightly inaccurate because if you have all M's in your title tag, you actually have less space than if you had all I's. 70 characters is sort of a standard, but you gotta try to make sure it's actually the actual width of the title tag. With your title tags, you also want to look at who is ranking in the top 10 and how you can stand out against them. Shorter title tags tend to work better, and including the main keyword phrase towards the beginning is good. So if everything says, buy blue widgets here, buy blue widgets here, buy blue widgets here, and then all of a sudden, free blue widgets, or hey, read about blue widgets before you buy, something like that. You're still including your modifiers, you're still including information, and now you're going to stand out because you have something different. If you include numbers, that pops out to eyes. So this can help you. If you're not able to get that first 3 spots, then you can actually possibly get some of the clicks down in the 4th and 5th position instead because you actually stand out in the crowd. If everyone has super long title tags and you have a shorter one that's more relevant and eye-catching, you may be able to stand out better and get a click. Then you have your meta tags. Same rule applies with spacing. Technically, it's 156 characters-ish, depending on where you read, but think about the actual space you're using. Think about the keywords you're using. Think about the modifiers you're using. Does everyone know what a modifier is? Okay, so you take a keyword and you add on words like buy, free, find, online, big, blue, red, purple, things like that. Different words for the long tail you create. Those are your modifiers. And then you have your keyword tags. A lot of mistakes I see when I'm auditing sites are people stuff their keyword tags full of things, especially irrelevant things. On a page, you're trying to rank for basically one keyword and then a few variations of it. Use those for your keyword tags. Then you have your word counts. Your word count should be, a lot of people say 300 minimum. I like to write a lot, so I usually do 500 word minimums. In a few slides, we're going to get to keyword density and all of that fun stuff. But we have to cover like the sort of beginner stuff just because not everyone in here has been doing it for 5 years and more. Then afterwards, we have H tags. So because we just had Christmas, a good analogy for an H tag. An H tag is your header. It is the topic of the content on your page, basically. You have your H1, H2, H3, H4, and H5. If you think of a Christmas tree, you have a theme for your tree, possibly. It's all blue, or you have a hummingbird and a panda theme. And it's all going down in nice, pretty ornaments, okay? So the top one, your H1 tag, you only have one H1 tag on your page. Do not use more than one. A lot of designers like to take shortcuts. Because H tags will typically make letters a lot larger, they use it to style things a lot easier. This will destroy your chances at ranking. It hurts you. It is not good. Make sure it's always H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, or H1, H2, H3, H2. You never want to break that pattern or that order, and you never want your keywords and your designers to do styling using H tags. They are to tell your search engines. There's ways to style pages without using H tags. You're going to fight with them a little bit, but it's very important. So with your H tags, you want one H1. You can have up to about 3 H2 tags, but if you're gonna do that, you want at least 1,000 words of copy on that page. Because if you're gonna say there's 3 subtopics under the main topic, you've gotta have content to justify why it's there. Then, in those subtopics, you can add your H3 tags. So if we're looking at our Christmas tree, it's this big, tall triangle. We have 1 here, then 1, 2, 3 for H2. H3, 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 H3. So with each of these sub-things, you're gonna need copy below them. So make sure you can justify and say why these are here. It's also gonna say the relevance and the importance of it. So you can use your modifiers, like the big modifier in the H1. Then you can use your longer tail modifiers in the lower H2 tags and make sure they actually are relevant to the copy. It's user-friendly, and you're not just trying to spam in keywords for the search engines. And what I do when I'm writing a very large post that's gonna be using multiple H3s and H4 tags, I use them to actually outline my post. So I'll write topic A, blue widgets, and then I'll throw in my H tags for the next ones, and then I'll do the H3 tags underneath or whatever I need. And then from there, I'm like, okay, here's the copy that's gonna be relevant in all of these, and that's going to lead in to provide a good user experience. And if Google does a manual review of my website, I'm now going to be able to go in and say, okay, if they're gonna read this, yes, they are going to 100% agree that this is written for the user and not just written to help this page rank in Google. Give me one quick second, it's like really dry here. Images. How many of you know alt tags and title tags? Did you know title tags can be used on inbound links as well and outbound links? How many of you fill them out every time? Okay, for those of you who did not raise your hand, your homework tonight is to go home. Oh, how many of you use data feeds on your sites or product links from networks? Okay, what? How many of you use product links or data feeds within your website? So like you go into Share a Sale or Commission Junction, for example, and you pull out a product so that way the image will show on your site and everything else. Bad idea. What you need to do is go to the merchant and ask the merchant, hey, can I have the rights to pull this out and to add it into my website? And but make sure you tell them you're only gonna use it to send traffic to their site. By doing this, you can now rename the image. You can now use your own custom alt tags. You can technically change those on your site. And you can have it be unique for yourself, because if you're just using these network images and naming systems, you have the same exact one as everyone else. You want everything unique. If you're using a data feed, you want to make sure that all of your descriptions, all of your content from that data feed is unique to your site. Do not use the stuff in the network. Download it, modify it, change it, and upload it to your own server in your own database. And that's what you do, and make sure all of your images have their alt tags to name them. It's not just to tell Google. If you have a blind person visiting your site, people that use I forget what they're called right now, but the people that use the programs to read what's on the page to them, they read the alt tags to tell them what the image is that they're viewing. So you're eliminating an entire group of people from your site. So make sure you always use your alt tags. So now we have videos. I never used video for a very long time until I discovered my client Vubix. So the only reason they're in here is because I use them and I've had success with them. They enable me to have videos shared. So I put a video into the Vubix player, and now when people share it on Facebook and Twitter, it actually has clickable calls to actions. I can sell products through my links. I can get newsletter subscriptions, tons of other things. But for my on-page SEO, what I do is I'll create a video like this one, for example, and then if I actually created an infographic of that tree with H tags, for example, and I was giving this session as a video, like a webinar, I would have the list app open up and I would say, by the way, here's an infographic that will help explain what I was just talking about, and now you can go here. If people and bloggers and other people in our industry are sitting there and seeing this and find the infographic, now I can build backlinks into my site. There's another thing that I use video for. There's a program called OneLoad, and it's a spin-off of TubeMogul. It was their original product, and what it does is it allows you to take a video and you upload it to OneLoad, and now it distributes it to YouTube, to I think like MetaCafe, Vimeo, and every other major sharing site for you for free. So now you don't have to waste your computer sitting there waiting for everything to upload at once. It just makes your life a heck of a lot easier and saves you time. Now for video SEO. So rich snippets, there's a lot of different things you can do with this. I am not a techie, I know how to do it, but I don't know how to explain it. So you need a rich snippet. If you go into Google and you do a search for something, you've all probably seen the little screenshot that shows up with a video and an image. That's because there's a rich snippet and showing that image as part of the video. So if you get that in there, all of a sudden, now even if you're in the 5th spot in Google, and that little image is showing up in the SERPs. Does everyone know what SERPs is? Okay. So it's your search engine ranking position, basically. It's where the 10 results on the page. That's going to pop out and stand out pretty good. It's kind of like Google Authorship, where your image is next to the URL. So that could also help to drive more traffic in through SEO. So make sure your rich snippets are there. If you use Yoast SEO in combination with your WordPress site, Yoast also has a video SEO program. It does cost money, it's not free, and that will automatically generate rich snippets for you, so you don't have to worry about anything. Take a screenshot of your video. If you don't use images, but you do video because you're a vlogger, for example, find some really cool looking scene inside your video. Like maybe you're like, ah, inside one of the things that's gonna stand out and pop out. Now, include that inside the post somewhere, okay? So as people are sharing on Facebook and on Twitter, instead of having no image, if it's not gonna pull the video in, now there's this really cool looking one. You can even take that little play symbol and you can pop that symbol right over that image. So people are gonna think it's a video, and now they know there's gonna be a video to watch when they click through, and you're gonna have a nice image, or not so nice image if it's that face, showing up right on the Facebook shares, the Twitter shares, on Pinterest it can now go. Pinterest allows some videos to upload but not others. So it's really important that you have the image there with your video. Naming structures and links, so make sure your URLs are named properly for your videos named properly. If you're uploading to YouTube, a lot of people don't know that YouTube has a keyword tool that will tell you the search volumes on YouTube. So now you can actually figure out what people are looking for and searching for, and you can actually include that through. You can also look at what other people that are showing up and getting all the traffic are tagging and categorizing as. So now you can actually include those on your own videos. And what this is going to do is help you to show up. So after this video that's getting viewed like 10,000 times a second, you could be the next video showing up after to build your own following and start to get likes. That's just a quick little YouTube trick. Your video sitemaps, these are all things you should have. A video sitemap, does everyone have that on their site? If you use video. It's something you need to have. Closed captioning. Who actually transcribes their videos? Anyone? Cool, a couple people. It's very important. One, there's a lot of deaf people out there, and you don't want to alienate them. You want to transcribe so they could read, or you want to have it scroll across the screen so that they can open it up. Make sure you include it. Now, you could run into an issue. If you're transcribing videos and you also transcribe it in other places, you can have duplicate content. So you need to properly use your canonical links. Does everyone know canonical links? Okay, good. Have multiple sizes. There's multiple devices that can look at things, multiple computer screens. You want to make sure you offer multiple sizes, or better yet, make sure all of your videos are responsive. Responsive basically means it'll change to meet any device it is on. And that's super important. Matt Cutts even said you must have responsive going on right now. So were there any questions on the, yes? Transfer. I write my own things. I just write it out. But this is for your on-site as well. I was just giving a couple of random, the question was, YouTube offers a transcribing tool, but isn't necessarily always 100% perfect. So we'll be nice. And just because we don't want to piss off the big G. So basically, I always transcribe stuff on my own websites and in the videos. I just do it by hand. I'm just really OCD, and I love to have my wording there, and I want to make sure it's right and perfect in the way that I want it to read. So I just recommend you write it yourself. Unless you find a transcribing service that just works well for you, then go for it. Any other questions? Yes? I say go for it. As long as you're not spamming it, as long as your keywords are relevant, and as long as you're not doing like 5 or 10 or 20 or 50 keywords, it's not going to hurt you. Google used to have, years and years and years ago, Google used to have a page rank And PageRank, yes, that's kind of useless too, but it's still a good thing to say the site has some authority. So basically, there was, you actually had a meta tag to tell Google what your page rank should be. You could have had a PR of 9 just by telling it. And it would say, okay, let's give you a PR of 9. So things change and flip around. It just depends on the year and how moody they're being. The question was, is our keyword tag still relevant? And I say not as relevant, but it doesn't hurt. It takes you 5 seconds to type in 3 words. Just go for it. Are there any other questions on this slide? Oh, yes? What do you mean? Okay, so the question is he's having issues with having tags indexed. Which tags are you talking about? Okay. Then you have a crawl issue, and you need to see how it's crawling you and if it's getting stuck in a loop or why it's not hitting your content. Do you know if those pages are ranking well? Okay, yeah. You probably just have a crawl issue or something's blocking it. I haven't seen that much. I don't have a good answer for you, I'm sorry. Any other questions on this one? Hey, at least I'll say when I really can't give a good answer, I'm not gonna try and bullshit. I just almost swore, I stopped myself. But basically, yeah, I'm not gonna lie and pretend I know a solid answer if I don't, so that's at least one thing you'll get out of this session. So let's go on to links. So we have backlinks. A backlink is a link that points from one site to your site. And there are tons of different types of links, so we're just gonna do a brief overview. Does everyone in here know what an SEO neighborhood is? If you don't, raise your hand. Okay, so there's a few types of SEO neighborhoods. Let's picture the ghetto for a minute. You have gangsters running around shooting each other. You have rundown houses. Or you could have cars on cinder blocks. You have like appliances sitting on things, overgrown grass, windows boarded up. It's probably not a good neighborhood that you want to live in. Then there's the neighborhood where you have some people sitting there and they're just, it's a nice neighborhood. Some of the houses are kind of crappy, they're dilapidated, but some of the houses are really nice. It could be up and coming, it could just be a regular lower mid-class neighborhood. It could be nice to live in, you know, it's a good fixer-upper. You can get in cheap, move up. So that might not be the worst. Then you have the pristine neighborhood with everything's perfect. It's like the freaking Stepford Wives, you know? And basically, out of there, you have everything's golden. Everything looks the same. Everything's perfect. So let's think about this in terms of your content, okay? And the sites linking into you. The sites linking into you, if they are in that pristine neighborhood and your site's about blue widgets, their sites are going to be about blue widgets as well. By having those blue widgets to your blue widgets, you're in a gorgeous neighborhood. You are in the prime place to be. If you're in that ghetto neighborhood and it's linking to you, you get guilt by association. So by having this guilt by association, you are now getting small penalizations, and Google's like, well, maybe this person's just getting really spammy links and it's not that good for you. So now your neighborhood's starting to turn into that middle neighborhood. You gotta think about who they're linking to besides you. So if they're linking out to 1 million different sites, and these sites talk about Viagra, these sites talk about dating pills, and you sell diapers, well, they could be related because the other two lead up to the baby, but it's probably not going to be good content relevance for you. And so what you really want to do is try and stay in the good neighborhood. So if a site's linking out to everything, if they clearly say in their media kit, you will get a backlink, this is a PR blah, blah, blah site, guess what? And it's in writing, they're probably already marked and mapped out a little bit. So you want to make sure you have good, clean, solid backlinks coming in, but you also need a mix. 1 second, please. And then the next SEO neighborhood to think about is your own website. What are you doing and who are you linking out to? Are you linking out to these clean websites that are really content relevant, that have some relevance to the content in the article, that will it add user value to you? And are you linking out to irrelevant things as well? That defines your neighborhood that you're creating. So by having a clean neighborhood on both ends, you have a much better chance of showing them that you're a very authoritative person, and you could start to get some favoritism with Google. What's your question?
Well, I mean, you went on about the spammy link sites, but what about all these PR sites and PR web that give juice, obviously they index. When you look at a press release or a given event, you might have the original press release up
You shouldn't, okay, so the question is about press releases and spammy backlinks. Don't use press releases for your backlinks. It's been said a million times. It's not part of a good strategy. It's not part of a solid strategy. And I'll cover how it can be in a second, okay? Using press releases is to get stories out. Getting a story out can get you a real backlink. If you think that Google doesn't know who's on these feeds, who's on these sites, you are wrong. Google knows, because guess what? Everyone that releases through gets the same exact no-follow links. And by the way, most of those links are no-follow that come through it. And if you're just stuffing keywords through it, guess what? Google now knows that, hey, you're adding these keywords into your site because you want to rank for this. So hey, I'm buying keywords right now. Look, Google, I'm buying backlinks off of these keywords. It's never a good idea. But what you can do is if you do have a newswire that has a good distribution, there's one that goes out to charities that works great. They only publish on their site. The article's only available on their site. The charities get an email, then they could read it, okay? Then these charities can write about you and link to you. Some of them are awesome. I got a PR7 backlink from a really, really huge site, which was awesome. I also got one from the National Wildlife Federation because of using a wire. But I did not link to myself once in the press release. Instead, I provided some valuable content that they would think is good, and I supplied an image that I uploaded and created and that I owned for that guy that ripped me apart on Facebook, because I created it myself in PowerPoint, and it sucks, because I can't use Photoshop anymore. And it worked awesome. So you use press releases to get your information out, okay? Don't use it to build backlinks. And if your SEO firm's trying to tell you to do that, just Google slap them back, okay? Are there any other questions so far? Okay. So do follow versus no follow. This was created so that, years ago, so that you could tell Google, do not follow this link to pass authority onto this site that I'm linking to. Unfortunately, it's gone through a ton of bloggers that you should no follow everything, no follow everything. That is absolute crap. If you have a relevant site and it's authoritative or it adds a good user experience, do follow it. Leave it, do follow. Because it's going to say that, hey, this is another good site, and that can actually help you. If everything going off your site is no follow, it's going to look like everything's crap. And if every other site in your niche, for example, is linking to them saying, hey, this is the authoritative one, and you're the only one saying no, that could potentially look bad on you. It's not proven. It's just stuff that I've seen with my own sites, and I've tested using a no-follow plugin. So I get rid of that stuff, and I do follow. When it's relevant, and I think it's a good resource for my readers, I give that do follow link, and it helps me, okay? You also, no follow can be very good for you, too. Google wants to see a really nice balance of links. For Penguin, it wants probably a 70 to 30 or 80 to 20 ratio of brand links versus keyword links. But it also needs to see do follow versus no follow. It probably wants to see some spammy links, but it wants to see a ton of really good quality links. You need to find where that balance is to help your site rank. So another thing to think about with no follow, some of the plugins out there, I'm not going to name which ones they are, you can come up to me after, they actually will no follow your internal links. Do you know what an internal linking structure is? Anyone doesn't? Raise their hand. Okay, so we have a couple. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, if you're going to, no follow is designed to say, you do not know, or this site is not relevant, this is not a quality site, and you're going to build a link from your site into your site to say, hey, this is a no quality site, that's kind of a bad idea. So you really want to make sure you don't, if you do use a no follow plugin, you use the right one and your internal links are still do follow. Natural links versus unnatural links. When somebody's linking to you, like a mommy blogger or something, she's probably not going to give you a million keyword links. Some of them might. Most of them probably won't. They're probably going to link off your company name, a variation of the name, the URL, or something else. That's your natural looking link. What would your kids, what would your grandparents, how would they reference your company in an article? Probably off your URL or your name, not off of a keyword that's in the middle of a paragraph. So you need to have a good mix of natural versus unnatural to help make Penguin happy. Then there's your internal links, which I just said. Those are the links going from one page on your site to another page on your site. It's a great way to help tell Google that this page is about this topic and this is the page that I want to have show up for this term. Doesn't mean you're going to show up for that term, but at least you're telling the search engines now, hey, this is the page that we need to get ranking for this term. Are there any questions so far? After. We can do that one. Yes.
The follow versus no follow, obviously this is affiliate summit. What about affiliate links? You recommend no following, let the link out to say you never saw, some other affiliate product that you saw.
That's up to you. So when you're using affiliate links on your page, if you're showing ads above the fold and you have a bunch of ads there, or you have a big storefront above the fold, that could actually penalize you. Google doesn't want to see ads. They want to provide a positive user experience and everything. They do know, from what I understand, but I don't have documentation of it, that what the network servers are. So like the CJ ones or the share sale starts as share a sale. They do know what those are and they can tell them, and they know that they're ads, just like when you see double-click ads from their exchange. So basically, if you show those, it's going to look a lot different than a store that has a product listed. So try to keep your ads lower. What I do with some of the sites that I really want to have kick ass, I try to make it through without swearing. This is going to be my first. Oh well. Sorry. So basically, yeah, what was the question? No. Yeah. So what you may want to do instead of doing that is create a folder. So we already said Viewbix. So if you would want to partner with Viewbix, for example, you want to create a folder that's like yoururl.com/Viewbix. Then that folder can redirect through your affiliate link that way. And that way you don't have your affiliate link looking there. What you do not want to do anymore is use a URL shortener. Because if you read my post about 3 more reasons not to let auto monetization tools into your site, into your affiliate programs, you'll find out that some of these link shortening tools are actual affiliates now. They're using these auto monetization tools to turn direct links into affiliate links. So if you plug it in, you can now be replacing your own affiliate links with their affiliate link and losing your sales. So don't use them. Instead, yeah. Oh yeah. I can show you an example if you want after. I actually did a case study with actual images of an affiliate. I just took over a program, I'm not going to say which one, and we noticed that this girl, it was coming from her page on YouTube, and yes, she does have an FTC disclosure there, that's very important, but she wasn't making any sales. But all of a sudden, there was an auto monetization tool that was coming in and generating sales. And guess what? That URL was her YouTube page, was the referring URL. So we looked at what she did. I went to the page and I saw the link shortener there. And sure enough, it was turning her links into their links because she thought that link shortener was going to be her friend. Do not use them, okay? I have lots and lots of posts about this. However, the auto monetization tools can be a very good friend for you. So I have some blogs from 2006 that I haven't updated. Half the links are dead and broken. So I'll throw the tools on there and it helps me monetize those sites. So there's good and bad. As an affiliate manager and an outsourced program manager, I don't let them in my programs, but I find other ways to work with them, like a media buy or something else, and this way I can protect it. And there's a ton of other reasons. So if you just look through those posts, you'll be able to find some answers. But don't use link shorteners anymore. And also, on your blog, if you use Discus, for example, if anyone is, guess what? They're using one of those auto monetization tools. So if people are leaving comments, they could be turning them into affiliate links, and your cookies are being overridden from your own content. So there's another thing. So go to my blog. I have tons and tons and tons of stuff about this on there. But this is about SEO, so I'm going to change topics and go back. So sorry. Are there any other questions about backlinks and internal links? Yes. I'm sorry, I couldn't understand. What do you mean log? Cloak. Cloaking your link. Oh, so the question is cloaking your links. Does that affect anything? Not really. I mean, it's just a link that's going to keep redirecting somewhere. Again, my recommendation to you is just create that folder and do the redirect from the folder, and then also block Google from finding that folder with robots. And you should be fine. And that way it's just a link that they can't follow. They don't know what happens after that link, and you're good to go. Anyone else? Okay, cool. Content again. So now we have our little birdie friend. And we got to ask, what is the goal of your page? Hummingbird's looking at the intent of the user. They want to know, what is the person talking about? So does anyone here manufacture products? Actually, I do know someone in here manufactures a product. They manufacture, okay, what do you manufacture? Mobile phones? Okay, so you're probably talking, so she manufactures mobile phones. So you're probably sitting there talking to your dealers looking for the next best type of microprocessing chip, right? But there could be other people just looking for the specific type of phone. So your intent out on Google is different than the consumer's intent, but you could be looking for the same exact term, okay? So what our little birdie friend out there is trying to do is snooping on all these little pages and trying to figure out who's looking for what and how can we deliver the right results to them. So it's the intent of the user. It's not necessarily the copy on your page, but it's the site architecture, it's the structure of your site. And then it's the copy and how are you providing it? Are you using the right modifiers? What's actually on the page here? And are you providing the solution? Is someone looking for a menu or is someone looking for directions? Are they on a mobile device? Are they on a laptop? And what is their intent? By solving the intent of the user, you can now go ahead and help to meet Hummingbirds' needs. Chances are, no one in this room, or maybe only one or two people in this room actually knew Hummingbird launched, because it probably didn't affect your site much. It probably didn't affect your sales much. But the thing is, now if you look at Hummingbird, you can start to get some of that traffic by helping to change your site around. So should you create more than one page based on intent? Yes. The tricky thing is, if your goal is to still rank for the term mobile phone manufacturing processing part thingies, then basically you could have 2 pages, one dedicated to the manufacturers and one to the consumers. The consumer one's going to be more product sales oriented and have information, possibly show the products that are for sale and be a sales page. The next page, it could be all about the actual process behind it, how to order, how it's produced, stuff that the manufacturers would talk about. I don't know that, so I don't know the actual copy would go in. Then you also want to set up the structure, the linking structure, and the architecture of your site to help Google know where and how to find and show this. The tricky thing you're going to run into here is you're going after the same keyword with 2 pages. So this is a really detailed topic that's actually about a 3-hour presentation if we would go into it. But I think you guys may have an understanding of what I'm talking about, and you could run with that from there. Is everyone good? Okay, cool. So the next thing, how have you helped the visitor? Have you actually provided a solution to them? So if you're going after mesothelioma, that's like that big PPC click one we wanted, are you trying to answer that first question, I have mesothelioma? Okay, great, so they find a website. And then the next question, okay, well, what are the symptoms here? Okay, great. The next question, how can I cure this? So which part of this are you trying to go after? What are you trying to get onto your site to get the traffic and the clicks? So figure out the intent of the user. Are you providing a solution, a lawyer to sue for asbestos? What are you trying to find here? And now create that intent, create the site around this exact thing. That is what our little birdie friend's looking for, okay? Have you given a way to share this content, and is the share accessible by Google? I was reading that Facebook, again, is no longer viewable by Google, which has pretty much always been standard, but Google is starting to open up a little bit more and tell you, well, guess what? More shares on different social signals can actually help you increase. And then there's that whole, oh no, Google Plus doesn't affect your rankings. Guess what? That's bullshit. Crap. So if you log into Google and you type in something, and you've been to my blog a couple times, if you've been to his website, if you're a shopper with her manufacturing company, guess what? If you're logged into Google and she has her author rank there, guess who's going to show up above other results if you're logged out? It does affect it. So make sure that you do have all of your shares accessible, readable, and you have the ones that are relevant to you. If you're selling pink cupcakes, you probably don't need LinkedIn on your site, but you want Pinterest. You know, make sure it's all relevant for you as well. Don't put on social sites that just aren't relevant for you and aren't really going to help you too much. Then what questions have you answered that other sites haven't provided a solution for? This is a huge one. This is where I go after with my websites and my niches. Where is there not a fit? What's not being answered? I go in and I answer that question. And that's always been a great way for me to take over a niche. What modifiers have you used and have you not used? So use your keyword planner, because it's no longer the keyword tool, and use Trillion. Use whatever one you want, Keyword Discover, SEMrush. Use whatever tools you're using. And you can go out and you can start to find modifiers you haven't thought of, and you can start to build pages to provide an even better user experience. And then you can work that into your sitemaps and everything else, and now you can provide a better user experience and help to rank for more of the long tail off of these other pages. Have you gone social? Oh, sorry, were there any questions on that slide? How are we doing on time? Good? Okay, cool. So, is it B2B, B2C, or is it both? You want the social networks that are relevant for your topics. Will it send signals back to Google? We definitely want to show positive signals to Google. It's like YouTube. If you get likes, comments, and shares and stuff like that, that's a pretty good signal that your video's generating a lot of interest so they can make a lot more money and they can start showing it higher. Does the traffic convert into sales? This is pretty much the most important thing. What's the goal of your site, and is it actually driving sales in? You can add in redirects or custom URLs with custom affiliate links on each share button. Oh, so this is a cool one. I forgot I put that in there. So everything is trackable. One thing that you can kind of do, how many of you have actually gone into your social sharing buttons and included things like when they click share on this, it's automatically going to share this message instead of just the title of your post? Cool. We have like 2 or 3 people. You guys are missing out on this one, okay? So with your Twitter share, for example, you could have the topic, you can have a hashtag in the share, and you can also have find information on this here, or buy this product here and use your affiliate link. Of course, you want the hashtag ad or an affiliate disclosure there to be FTC compliant. And now you have a money-making opportunity with every reader that shares this for you, okay? So this is a big opportunity. Think about your social sharing buttons and think about how you can monetize those. You can also sell this space. This is an awesome place for you to make money. So after someone's clicked on your Twitter share, you can do follow me on Twitter, and you can also have follow this person. So if you have another blogger that is relevant to you, why not say, hey, for 1 month, I will give you the second follow if you give me the second follow. Or you can go to your advertiser and say, hey, you know, I know you spend X amount of money with me on this banner ad every month. You know, I have this other opportunity. Would you like to build your Twitter followers? Well, why don't you give me X amount for this Twitter follow for the month, and let's see what happens. And then you can count the increase based on shares and show that way, because all you have to do is go through the actual number on the counter, and you know, it was shared this amount of time, you owe me this much money. So there's a ton of stuff you can do to monetize your site through there. Then what other SEO attributes are social sites having an effect on? If your site is not relevant, or a social site is driving traffic that consistently bounces, like if you get a really good stumble and it sends 100,000 people to your site, or if you get a pin that goes and you get 5,000 people hitting a site that maybe has 10 visitors a day, and 90% of it's bouncing, that's a very bad signal for Google. Pull it off your site or something. Get rid of it. You don't want to hurt yourself. Your page views. What are you doing to help get page views going through? And are you dividing people across so they read the content, then they go to the next page and they actually stay on it? More page views tends to help pages rank better and sites rank better. Are you providing quality content that's going to bring people back over and over? If your goal is to just get a one-time visit and a one-time conversion, that's great. So now what can you do to make sure they're staying on the site for a long time and that Google's going to know, hey, this was the quality, they found what they needed, so they didn't have to look elsewhere and leave. So you've got to answer those questions for yourself about your own pages. Am I providing the right user experience? And is it the experience that would be expected after the search query that was performed? Okay? That's what you need to think about when you're designing your pages and with the content on your page. Pages per visit and time per page, we kind of covered those as well. Are there any questions on this one? 10 gazillion. He asked about the magic number. Sorry, no. It's all depending on how it likes you or doesn't like you at the time. So let's get a little bit more detailed. Your keyword density. So if you have a keyword that you'd like to rank for in the search engines, okay, you need to make sure that it is repeated throughout the page. So if you use Yoast, SEO Presser, or any of these other things on your websites, then it will actually give you your keyword density. The keyword density is the amount of repetition in a percentage that the keyword appears within the content. So if you have 100 words and your keyword phrase appears twice, you have 2% keyword density. I like to keep mine between 2 and 4%. It just tends to work well for me on my sites. I have another site that doesn't rank for heck unless I'm up at 6%. I have one that only ranks when I'm at 1%. So test it and find out what works well for your site and keep track of it. My main objective with new sites, even when I'm taking over a new SEO project, is between 2 and 4% keyword density. Here's the next trick. That's a lot of repetition. Every 50 words, you have that keyword. And you also probably want 3 or 4 different variations of that keyword. So now you're reading this content, and all it is that keyword over and over in variations, and that's no longer user-friendly. This is where you have to yell at your content writers a little bit. So what are you doing here? How can we make this look a little more pretty and keep the keyword density there? My recommendation is keep between 2 and 4%. 4% is on the very high end. 2% is pretty solid. Yoast will give you a green light on both of those numbers, so it's just go with that. Authorship tags, you definitely want to have your authorship tags on your site, and you want to list it in your Google Plus profile. This helps you to show up inside the search engines with your image next to the article name in the search results. Internal linking structures, we covered this for the most part, and we are almost done, so then we can go into question and answer. Your internal linking structures are a way for you to tell Google and other search engines, this is the topic of this page, and basically, this page should be ranking for this keyword. And what's also nice is if you can build up a lot of authority to a specific page, you can now pass that authority through an internal link into another page. What you need to be careful of is pages that you want to rank for similar terms. You don't want to confuse Google. Pick the page you want to have rank and use those same keywords and keyword variations to that page. Do not consistently link out to other pages off of those keywords, and do not outbound link off of those keywords. You want your site to rank for them, okay? And yes, using keyword-rich links as internal links, in my opinion, is 100% safe, and you should be doing it. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other SEOs would agree that use keyword-rich links and phrases and internal links. It is good and safe to use. So what else? Well, on my site audit list, I have about, for my on-page, I think I have about 400 things that I look at. There are tons and tons of things. However, they get less and less important and less relevant as you go. There's also tech stuff. Look at your site. If you have breadcrumbs on your site, I went through a couple of sites and I found out, guess what? Their IT department accidentally made a mistake. They hid their breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs are those nice little keyword-rich links that go through a site under the site copy. So they weren't publicly visible. They were visible. They were keyword stuffing inside it. So you need to think about things like that. Look through your code and make sure it's there. If you look at your website, how many of you have actually looked at how things are linked and how your CSS is linking things, or how your tech team has set up your links? Are they using full URLs, or are they using, I don't know what the actual techie term is, but does every internal link and every link in your site start with your URL and then have the expansion, or does it start at that / and go beyond? If it starts at that / and beyond, you may have crawl issues. So you need to look at that, because that could hurt your pages from ranking as well, and your site from getting crawled. You need to make sure you have full URLs in there. Okay, so we're down to 15 minutes, and we're on the last page. This means it's question and answer time. So if you have who has a question? Yes. Tags as it, the value of tags, as in what?
The value of tags
For
for SEO.
blogs?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, with blogs and tags, you can actually rank a tag and you can rank a category. Let's start with categories. My recommendation, and this is something I recommend and I put on my client sites, but I don't do on my own because I'm stupid, is don't go above 8 categories. And keep your categories relevant and give them their own keywords and descriptions, okay? Tags as well, they can be indexed and they can rank. However, make the tags relevant for your site. Your categories should be short and pretty much sweet and to the point. Your tags can be the long tail questions and phrases, okay? But make sure you don't, if you only have 300 words on your page, you don't need 20 tags. You might need 2 or 3. Some people got rid of them altogether. I still like them because I'm kind of old school and I believe in that whole voodoo thing, so like the Google voodoo magic. So I do actually still tag things, but I only do 3 or 5. If I have a 1,000 and 2,000 word article, if you read AdamRiemer.me, you'll see most of them are 2,000 to 5,000 words. I go up to 8 and 10 tags sometimes. Other times I keep it at 2 and 3. Make sure your tags are just relevant. Other times you can actually, on most blogging platforms, you can use no archive, no index on your tags as well if you don't want to use tags. So it's up to you, but categories, make sure those are relevant because categories can rank extremely well. Tags can rank too, especially off product-based posts. No, It depends on your content. Make sure it's relevant. Everything's about relevance. Is it relevant? Is it going to add value? Is it something that's important for it? And does it make sense? And does it match the copy inside? Does it match the links that are pointing into this page? And everything else. I mean, well, the tags are actually going to create their own unique URL. But, I mean, just make sure everything's relevant and it provides some sort of value. If it's just there for shit, I almost did it again, and giggles. You know, someone used to sit at my sessions at another show. They would go to everyone just to go finger up for every time I'd slip up and swear. And that's how I would like keep it under control. That person no longer goes to shows anymore. Not because of anything, but because they've retired. But it used to like really help. But just make sure it's relevant and you keep it, don't go overboard because you don't want to spam. It's like keyword stuffing. Then you're spamming. You don't, so the question was, if you only have 1 or 2 posts, but there's 8 million tags, you're spamming and stuffing. It's not relevant. It's basically common sense. Is this relevant? Am I just going overboard? Am I just trying to stuff this in there? I mean, there's nothing more I can tell you. Use common sense. Hi, she just raised before you and then you. Of course. Okay, so the question's about duplicate content. Let me make sure I have this right. So you have the same exact copy and the same exact form with small little changes depending on what the deal is. And that is the majority of the content on your page, on your site. Okay. So basically with that, so duplicate content, when you start, most people have this wrong. Actual duplicate content refers to every single aspect of the page, the design, the tagging, the coding. Pretty much if someone just grabs, scrapes your code and your copy and everything and creates an exact replica, that's duplicate content. With that said, she has almost every single post she has starts with the same 200 words. There's a few things you could do. You could block those words, you could hide those words, probably not that good, but could be effective, potentially. Not saying will be, not saying do it. And the rest is you could source it. There's different things you can do. I have this on one site, actually, a pretty similar one, because I have the same disclaimer on I have an entertainment website, and I have a disclaimer on shows that I haven't seen, but I watched the trailer and I have friends see. And a lot of mommy bloggers now are using the same paragraph. This is a guest post not written by us. We have no claim, no responsibility, blah, blah, blah. And they're running into it. You can block that at the same time. What you may want to just do is put your H1 tag directly below that and start your copy here. Or just change it. I mean, is it really that important and relevant for you?
Well, it's important element to have the information. I could not be so lazy and go and change it a little bit every week. But just because, I have a template out, it's like easier to do it that way. I just want to do it that way. And I didn't know if it had a huge effect on it.
It's just going to depend on the quality.
One of my posts, I write 30 to 40 posts a day, so not every single one of them.
Oh, then I wouldn't even worry. So you know what, don't worry about ranking those posts. So her thing is, she actually writes 30 and 40 posts on her site a day, and this is just 1 post a week. So in this case, I would say don't worry about it. Who cares if that one ranks? Try to rank the other ones. I wouldn't even bother with it. If that's just your template one that they're expecting, send it to them. You can even just block that category completely so Google doesn't even know it exists. Yeah, add your robots and no index to that. And that way, this category and these posts no longer exist. Just block them out 100%. Take them off your sitemap. And now let the good content that's relevant and quality show. And that's what Google's looking for. And get rid of the stuff that isn't there. I thought that was all of your site. That's what I was like, oh, this could be a little tricky. But no, if it's just one small section, then block it. And that way, you shouldn't have any issues. Because you're not saying, hey, index this. Index the quality stuff. Don't show this crap stuff. Even though it's not crap, but you know what I mean. It's not stuff that they would want. No problem.
How do you get all the Google Authorship created so that that's already
So here, the two questions. The first one is, how do you get your Google authorship? It's really simple. You create your Google Plus account. You go in and you add the author tag into your site. I have mine. You can do it in a bunch of different places. I actually have a guide with images and on actual step-by-step instructions on adamriemer.me. I know Ray Hoffman, who's speaking here, she did a post about that. Roger Monte's here. I'm pretty sure he did a post on it. There's step-by-step guides out there for you. Then you just put the URL that you write to on that page and verify everything. And if it likes it, if it thinks it's relevant, it'll start to show you. You can't guarantee it's going to show unless you're Google. The second question is content curation. And was it good or bad?
Yeah, I don't know, because I keep on hearing mixed.
So with content curation, which type are you doing? Are you taking other people's content and piling it into your site to make some random news site of other people's content? Or are you trying to share other people's content using snippets and linking out to other sites?
Well, both. A little bit of both. So, I mean, that's why it's a little bit.
I would recommend you don't. As an affiliate manager, I get, how many other people are or have been affiliate managers in here? Okay, so I need you all to raise your hand for a second. How many of you see these lovely sites every time you log into your programs or at least once a week? Their hands are starting to go up again. I mean, you just don't do it. It's not going to work. Some sites with a lot of authority, old URLs can do it, but what they're doing instead, so Affiliate Buzz or AffBuzz, they send me a pretty decent amount of traffic to my adamriemer.me blog. I love them. I have no idea who they are. I'd love to meet them and shake their hand. They're awesome to me. And what they do is they take the RSS feeds from a lot of marketing blogs and they show the last 5 or 10 stories. The difference is what they're doing is they've broken it out into sort of a directory style and they're adding a lot of value into all of our sites. And I guess for some reason the crap that I put up there they think is good. And so they add it there and they let it constantly feed in and they feel that it's adding some value to their users. And so people link to their sites now and now their site's building up authority and that's how they're doing it. So think about it. Are you providing, who do you want on this website and is your poaching or taking other people's content, is that actually providing something? And are you able to and have they given you permission? Are you properly sourcing their site? Because that's super important. Okay? Are you providing it? You're doing the same thing as a million other sites out there. It's like putting up a website. Look, I'm going to be an affiliate, and I throw 50 million banners on a page, and now I have an affiliate site called a shopping mall that's going to make me $1 million. It's not going to happen. Unless you are that one lucky magic person that gets that $1 million overnight dream, you know? So do it if it's relevant and you're actually providing value. Does that answer your question? Okay, we have time for one more. We have 5 minutes. Yes. Or wait, let's see if anyone in the back first. Any questions? Okay. The PR distribution service? So I'm not sure what you're asking. Oh, so the question is how to use a PR service to get maximum exposure. That's just going to depend on the service. And what I would look at, I don't use them often anymore, but every once in a while, if I find a really niche one and that niche is relevant to my blog and they have a good distribution, I'll use it. I ask them questions about what time of day they get the most. I ask them questions they really can't answer, so they do some research. I ask them, what time of day do you get the most opens? Specifically, these sites that you have listed, when do these journalists, when do these bloggers, when do these websites tend to actually react? Then if I can actually find a breakdown of that website, the websites that I want to be on, and I can see when they're most active. I look at when they post and when they publish, if it's once a week, and I try to hit about when they may be researching, when they may not be, and I try to do my drops around those same times. Again, it's really going to depend. Then you need to have content that's going to appeal to them and other things. Another thing, if you don't want to have to pay for those service, look at the sites that you want access to from them and develop relationships with those sites on Twitter, on Facebook, or on that whole Google Plus thingy that we keep hearing about. And you could start to build relationships yourself and skip the newswire and not have to pay any money and get extra promotions and write back and forth. We have one more quick question. Yeah? The question is, does Google favor new and fresh content? That depends on, my answer for you is going to change probably every quarter. Right now, I'm going to say it's based on the intent of the user. A while ago, when Google News was huge, yes, it was freshness. There was a time where Google was taking live Twitter feeds and serving it into the search results. And you could literally do hashtag Viagra and show an affiliate link for Viagra and rank in the top of freaking Google for Viagra and make I stopped myself, a crap ton of money. Okay? So Google's always changing. The rules are always going to change. Freshness versus updated dates. So there's two different dates on a post, your last update or the freshness. If you have a page that's already ranking strong, not going anywhere, surviving things, don't bother updating it. Let it sit there. You know, it's not going to hurt you. It's already helping you. You don't want to risk it. If you have to update it, use your best judgment for how your site's reacting. Look at your fresh content, how it's doing. Look at the content that. So if you post every day, look at what posts from 3 months ago are doing, 6 months ago are doing, and then 2 years ago are doing. Because clearly it's probably not going to pop up to the top page. It might, depending on their site's authority or relevance, to the top. But then it'll bounce around until Google knows where to place your site. And then once it knows where to place your site, that's when you can start to really figure out, okay, it's looking for this. Let me change this now and see if it goes up or down because we changed the content and we changed it. But also, when you tell Google that you've made a change on your site, by doing that, you could be saying to them that the information on here is different now. So it may recrawl you, reindex you, and recategorize you, and you may lose your rankings too. Again, you ask me in 3 months, I'm going to tell you a different answer because it'll be a different then. There's no answer I can give you that's 100%. That's like saying, is Big Daddy coming back? I think that was the algorithm in like 2006. I'll be like, yeah, of course, so is Farmer. You know, it's just, you never know what they're going to do or what they're going to roll out. There's certain signals you can find, but it's whatever's working for your site. So look and see, when you update content, does it bounce back up? Then that updated content in 3 months after you update it, does it still last? Does it drop? Does it grow? What about after 6 months? And then you can start to test and answer yourself and measure it for yourself. Because now you know, okay, when I edit the last update, I'm out of time, but I'm taking one more second. So, and once you do that last update, make sure you're tracking it for a year to see how that updated time affects your own site, because every site's going to be unique. Thank you all very much. I'm Adam Riemer, adamriemer.me, and sorry for swearing.